But yeah, that's not the only drama that we've had because obviously Microsoft saw that like, hey, look at all this attention Sony is getting for completely fucking up their golden goose. Let's go ahead and fuck up on our end as well so that we can get some of that sweet, juicy engagement online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they go ahead and they announce that, hey, we're gonna close 4 studios from Bethesda, which is Tango Gameworks, the guys who made Hi-Fi Rush, Arcane Austin, who worked on Dishonored and Prey, and also made that terrible turd of a game, Redfall. And they got rid of a studio that was working on a mobile game. I forget their name. They were working on some game called Mighty Doom. And the other studio, I forget what they were working on. It was Roadhouse Games or Roadhouse Studios, something like that. They got rid of all of those studios, and immediately after they fired all of those people, the Microsoft marketing department, working at full capacity, goes and announces, hey guys, we got this brand new controller, Fire Vapor, Feel the Burn. I'm sorry. I'm laughing. It's fucked up for the people that lost their jobs, but holy shit, somebody at that marketing department should lose their fucking job, dude. Talk about having no fucking clue what they're doing. It's like, hey, bro, feel the burn.
You know what it is, man?
I think burn, all right.
I think it's actually something that goes to show that they just don't have very good marketing communication or not marketing. Sorry. They just don't have very good internal communication. And then also beyond that, the other thing is that I don't think they know what they're doing. I'm going to be real. So like I used to be really charitable towards Xbox, but I actually think that they're probably they're becoming one of the most poisonous platforms in the entire industry. The reason why I say that is because they've been so aggressive at picking up studios, but they haven't done anything with them.
Yeah, I always
I always ask people, I'm like, what good has come out of Microsoft buying any of these studios? And there really isn't anything to be able to point to outside of hey, we got Hi-Fi Rush, but that wasn't enough to be able to keep that studio apparently on its feet. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm just not seeing the benefit that's come from them buying these studios, because the whole idea behind it, at least what they tried to make it seem to the public, was we want to support these studios to be able to make great games, to deliver better experiences to you. But that hasn't happened.
See, speaking on the whole thing of not enough, we have somebody from Tango Gameworks that actually posted something that I retweeted yesterday. Not sure if you saw that. But they basically posted something that just says not enough, and they show like all of the ridiculous awards that Hi-Fi Rush won, which it won God knows how many awards in Japan and BAFTAs and the Game Awards and all of this stuff. And, they're just like, hey, was this not enough? Like, what's the deal? And it really fucking sucks because they did this, and then in a town hall, Matt Booty goes and he just says, oh, we need more studios to make smaller games. And people are like, wait, what the fuck do you mean? Hold on with you?
No, you got to make the other comparison. He has that town hall where he says that they need to make smaller games that win a bunch of awards. And just before then, he put out another email where he was talking about how the reason why they made the layoffs was to reposition people so that they could make bigger blockbuster games because that's what they need to make. It's like, you literally just said the opposite thing within a 1 day span. You said we're laying off all these people because we need big splash games that can draw in massive audiences. And then the next day you're like, yeah, we need smaller games so that we can win awards and get prestige. It's like, you guys even know? Did you see the interview with Sarah Bond?
I saw it this morning. I actually heard it like 2 or 3 times because I wanted to make sure that did she really just not answer pretty much anything when it came to the questions
The best part of that interview is the line that she says, where she says every studio has their own measurement of success. And I'm like, if that's the case, that's a defense for you to keep Tango in business to begin with. It's a smaller studio. It won awards. The game sold well enough for you to put it on multiple platforms. Yet at the exact same time, You guys still have 343 in business for some reason.
Oh yeah, those guys keep fucking up Halo like every other release. It's absolutely insane.
Everyone. No, it's every release. I haven't. What's been a good 343 Halo game?
I don't know. I haven't been playing Halo games, so
Exactly. Wonder why.
Imagine playing Halo games, dude. Like, what the hell are you doing with your life? So yeah, it's and that interview when she goes and she asks her about the closure of Tango Gameworks. And she just starts spewing random bullshit that has nothing to do with the answer to the question that she was given. And I was
Proves
like,
they have no idea.
Damn, dude, you just like, it's not even that, in that case, it's not even that they have no idea. It's like she basically can't talk about it. Like, that's just it.
Yeah.
She can't talk about it.
The reason why they can't talk about it is because the real reason why they got rid of them was because they looked around and they said, okay, we need to get our expenses under so that we can show higher profits.
ABK.
Yeah, so we can show higher profits because we showed a 60% increase after the purchase of Activision Blizzard King. Sorry, they had a 61% increase in profit after they purchased Activision Blizzard. 60% of that profit was Activision Blizzard King. 1% of their profit is coming from the rest of their studios.
Oof.
So they looked and they go, man, well, we need to show the investors that we now have 90% increase in profit. How are we going to do that? Well, we cut costs because nobody's buying our shit games to begin with. So let's get rid of, the ones that we think that we can get rid of and will be safe to get rid of. And then we'll kind of go from there. And I hate to say it like this, but especially with like just the direction that they've gone, if this is what they think that they have to do to be able to like get, what they have to do to be able to gain profit, which is one, basically, like, here's the thing. Within the next 3 years, Xbox will buy another studio because they'll need to, because they'll need to show profit because they've been sinking so much money into Game Pass. How sustainable is it for you to release games that are costing you $200 million to make, yet you're putting them on a $15 rental service? You know what I mean? And like that's the thing when people are like talking about Starfield. Well, Starfield was a big success. Was it? How was it a big success? How do you measure the success for a game that has a monthly subscription and the vast majority of people didn't buy it on Steam?
It's a serious problem. There was a dude that actually talked about that, Brad Hildebrand, who worked at Microsoft previously. And he actually had like this, I think this is either a LinkedIn post or a Facebook post, whatever, but it's been making the rounds. And what he said was, there are two reasons why all these Bethesda studios close, and neither of them have anything to do with Bethesda directly: Game Pass and Activision. The biggest paradox with Game Pass is that basically every game that launches on the service badly misses its sales goals, of course, because people, they can get it in Game Pass. Why would they buy it? Makes sense.
You'd go get Game Pass. You play Starfield for a month, and now you cancel your Game Pass, and you just played Starfield for $15 instead of buying a $60-$70 game. Of course, they're not going to meet sales targets. That's the crazy thing when I'm like, they didn't meet sales targets. Well, it's like, that's your fault, not the game's fault. It's because you guys aren't selling
of your business
games.
Plan. And so
it's because your business model.
He says, makes sense though. Why pay full price to buy a game when you can play it for free as part of your subscription? This is accounted for somewhat by attributing portions of revenue to top performing Game Pass games every month, but there are factors working against games, namely the fact that most games don't stay at the top of the chart for more than a month or two, which is normal because these are single player games, most of them at least. They're not supposed to be there very long. And also that Game Pass growth has stagnated, which again is normal because there was a boom during the pandemic. Yep. And now it's, the fact that it's stagnated and hasn't entered decline, they should be thanking their lucky stars for that alone. So games like Hi-Fi Rush, which is incredible, mind you, gets a very small bump in revenue from being the hot Game Pass for a game for a month. Then it falls off a cliff when everybody moves on to the next thing. Poor Redfall had it even worse since it launched so rough. It never had a chance. This system
it wasn't even a game they even wanted to make.
Yeah, this system was fine for while Game Pass was growing like gangbusters, which, again, during pandemic, but now it's slowed way down and the amount of revenue it's attributing to games isn't keeping up with the budgets to make them. But all that wouldn't have mattered even 3 or 4 years ago, because back then Xbox was basically a rounding error on Microsoft's books. The division made some money, but more importantly, it didn't cost that much, and other parts of the business easily covered the gap. Then Xbox went on a buying spree and spent a lot of money on Bethesda. I believe that Bethesda was like 7 billion, if I'm not mistaken, 7, 9, something like that. But orders of magnitude more on Activision. Now the Eye of Sauron has turned, and Xbox is expected to start making that 70 billion back, or at least cut expenses to the bone, and then some while they try. That brings us back to Game Pass. So far, the big bets on driving new subscriptions, Redfall, Starfield, haven't spurred near enough growth, and there's not much on the horizon that is likely to restart the momentum. The best bet is Call of Duty, but do you really risk the guaranteed sales revenue that franchise brings by putting it on Game Pass day one and potentially lose massive sales? I don't know what the plans are, but either you put it on Game Pass and lose money, or you don't, and subscribers revolt because they think that's what they signed up for. It's like they basically did paint themselves into a corner. Now the thing is, I think that Game Pass is a tremendous value for consumers, but I've always questioned myself, how does that work? Because this isn't Netflix. The budgets of these games are absolutely insane, and if you're not selling them, you're not going to be making that money back. It's crazy. So
yeah.
So
the reason why it doesn't make sense right now for many people is because it hasn't reached its final form yet. Its final form includes tiered different types of subscriptions. It's not just one Game Pass. There's going to be 3 separate Game Passes, with one is going to have one tier of games, another is going to have a different tier of games, and one's going to have ads, another one's not going to have ads. Maybe it's going to be save space. Maybe it's going to be the fidelity in which you can play games. Is it going to be a 4K game versus a 1080p game? It's going to have all of this different stuff. Exactly. It's already going to be there.
Tiers,
so
yeah.
They just haven't reached the final evolution of what it's going to be. And and the funny thing is that, just to be able to soften the blow with the layoffs, they also are now projecting that they're going to have to increase the price of Game Pass as well, and that they won't be including Call of Duty in Game Pass.
It's absolutely insane if they think that, we're just going to charge more for nothing. We're just going to charge you more for nothing. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. Here, go play Forza for $15 a month. Go play Gears of War 5 for $15 a month. The thing is that like one of my biggest issues that I have with Xbox, and I think this is something that's like indefensible, is the fact that like they don't have the ability to create anything on their own anymore.
Yeah, they don't. They just buy studios that give them stuff.
Like they used to be like the Xbox 360 era and and obviously even the Xbox era as well. They had some awesome homebrew first party titles that they made that were amazing, absolutely fantastic. And then I don't know if it was more of just the like Microsoft influence slowly but surely pushing the numbers up, and they kind of got away from like the root of like what they wanted to do. It's just one of those things where you look at them and you're like wondering, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Like Hi-Fi Rush is the best game that you guys have released since Gears of War 5, and that's like 6, 7, 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
You guys have basically gone 2 console generations almost without doing fuck all. What did Xbox do during Xbox One?
It was always impressive to me that they kept buying studios, and we were always waiting, okay, when are the games going to come out from all these studios? They got all these studios cooking, and they ain't cooking shit.
It's all burnt. It's all burnt. That's what it is. Yeah.
It's
like,
overcooked.
Here's the thing. The funny thing is, I guarantee you, Gears of War 6 is going to be a fantastic game. I think the Coalition picked up the reins from Epic Games and have done an absolute bang up job ever since they took over. I think Gears of War 5 was a fantastic game. Gears of War 4 was solid.
That one. That one was good.
Yeah.
Gears of War 5.
I think they've done a bang up job. I think that the team that they have over at the team that they have with Forza is doing their thing. But then outside of that, it's just like you're making a lot of like high budget, high profile games that aren't going to sell and don't reach audiences the same way that they used to anymore. I'll be honest with you. I love Halo. I loved Halo when I was younger. I don't think that there's an audience. I don't think the audience is the same for Halo games anymore.
The other thing that also happened is they say that they're not done with the cost cutting yet.
No, not even close.
They're not.
So
They specifically said we still need to cut a couple more. So the way that I'm looking at it is, you look at the amount of marketing that we got for Hellblade 2.
Oh yeah,
you look at the type of game that Hellblade 2 is, which they've already said the game's going to be like 15, 20 hours, maybe even less.
They make Unreal Engine demos. That's what they do.
Yeah, and so
Unreal Engine tech demos. That's what they make.
I'm like 90% sure Hellblade 2 comes out, and Microsoft's like, this game met all of our expectations. It was absolutely amazing. You're all fired.
So Hellblade 2, and then I think actually, so this is the hottest, steamiest take ever. Okay. And this is gonna be nightmare fuel for so many people when I say this. I think it's gonna be them, and then after Avowed gets released, Obsidian will be repurposed as a Bethesda tool.
Before Obsidian, I think Machine Games is also. You released that Indiana Jones game. Bye. See ya. Good job.
Yep. So
the game was fantastic. You can leave now. Exit stage left.
Machine Games. I can definitely see that one, but I think Obsidian once Avowed comes out, they will probably do like a repurposing, and they'll probably try to hitch them to Bethesda and have them make the next Fallout game. Players are going to be like, "Oh, awesome," but everybody knows that that's not what Obsidian wants.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Obsidian's done what they've done to try to get away from Bethesda. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what's going to happen is they're basically going to grab their little Pokeball, and Todd Howard's going to go, poof. Now you're my Pokemon. Yep. And that's it. Yep. Obsidian is now a Todd Howard Pokemon. He's a part of Todd Howard's starter. That's what it is. So it's like they're going to become basically Todd Howard's bitch, and Todd Howard's going to say, you do this now, and they're going to have to do that. Probably somebody in the leadership is going to get ousted or something, and they're just going to get the leftovers to be Howard's slaves.
The reason why I say that is because there's no, like, if Hi-Fi Rush wasn't enough, then Pentiment and Grounded were definitely not enough.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And also at the exact same time, I do not see Avowed doing gangbusters.
It really sucks because, like, I'm kind of excited for Avowed. Like, I really want to play Avowed. I think Avowed's going to be fun.
But I think Avowed is going to be like Outer Worlds.
I mean, I liked Outer Worlds. Did you not like Outer Worlds? Yeah, I thought Outer Worlds was pretty awesome.
But it was just a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
Xbox,
they want
Xbox doesn't want
games.
Just a good game.
Yeah, they want
Avowed. They want Avowed to be Elder Scrolls 6. They want Avowed to be GTA. They want Avowed to be, that's what they want. I know. I know. I get 100% where you're coming from, but at the exact same time, it's not going to happen. And here's the crazy thing is that so many of these companies, Xbox is doing it, PlayStation is doing it. It's not even just a borrowed time thing. Think about this, man. Like, how many of these companies have unrealistic sales figures and ideas of like how much their biggest problem is that they suck with money because they invest so much into it because they believe they're going to get X amount out of it.
Yep.
And look, I'm just going to use a great example of this. The most egregious one in the entire industry that does this, Square Enix.
Oh yeah. All the time.
Square Enix, we're going to sell 20 million copies of Final Fantasy 16. And it's just like, in fucking what world? There was a conversation that kind of went down that didn't get a whole lot of light. And, specifically looking at Xbox and a lot of their closures, I think 90% of Xbox's issues have to do with Game Pass and how hard they pushed into Game Pass so early.
I agree.
Right? Because it's not sustainable. It's not profitable enough. They have to charge far more than they already do to be able to turn a profit on it. They're spending too much money on the games that they put into it, and they're also cutting checks to smaller studios and indie developers to put their games on it. And those games they also don't have a good eye for games. So the games that they're putting on there to fill the game, fill out Game Pass with enough content to keep players interested, most of that content isn't worth a shit in the first place. And one of the things that's really worrisome about that is, a lot of these companies are trying to push these subscription services. They want it to be a thing. Ubisoft has one, EA has one, Xbox has one, Sony has one. All of these companies want them. And the problem with that is this is going to make, if that becomes prominent, I advocate because I realize that, like, I know that it's a really affordable option for some players, but I advocate against subscription services because I realize that one day they won't be. Yeah. They're not always going to be what they are right now. And thinking that, $10, $15 a month is good. Yeah, that's fine until it's $25, $35, $45, $55, until you're paying $70 a month to be able to play your games. And maybe you're somebody that used to, buy maybe 2-3 games a year and that was it. It just doesn't really work out. And
that's one of the reasons. Go ahead.
One of the core issues with this, one of the main reasons why I'm so worried about subscription services more than anything else, is because we will reach a day in which studios are no longer making games for players. They're making games for a committee that will approve their game to be on their platform.
Yeah.
And that's not the future of gaming that I want to be in. And this is something that's actually Sven Vinka over at Larian Studios. He was the one that brought it up initially. He said that one of the reasons why they didn't want to put their game on Game Pass is because, they believe in their product and believe they're selling it for a fair price. However, the other thing is that they don't support subscription services because it's going to make a future in which your game is the only way that your game is going to be accepted to be on their subscription service is either if you take a lower cut because they don't have faith in your game, or they tell you they want you to change specific things for it to be on their service in the first place. And I don't want that.
I love that guy. Sven Vinka, dude, he's
unfathomably
awesome.
Based. It's insane how down to earth and just straight shooter he is.